By now, we're all well aware that Splitgate 2 has lost over 90% of its player base in just 1 month. But do you know what game hasn't lost 90% of its player base in 1 month? Splitgate 1. The original game now doesn't have many players, peaking at around 150 concurrent users each day, but it's been stable at that number for about 1 month, basically since Splitgate 2 launched, with a few peaks here and there when the servers went down at the initial launch/beta stage. So I thought, why not hop onto Splitgate 1 one last time, even though I've already made a video called Playing Splitgate 1 one last time, and just compare the two and see why people are still playing this game. Upon launching this game, it really hit me just how much Splitgate 2 is missing, and how much more of a complete product Splitgate 1 is. Now obviously, Splitgate 1 had years to get to that stage, but there's just an expectation that your sequel to the game that you originally made would have the same, if not more, amount of content than the original game. I mean, there's a match composer with more modes, I'm sure there's more maps in Splitgate 1, there's the racing mode, which is not present in Splitgate 2, which had an entirely separate community, and its own leaderboard system for time trials. People were holding world records and posting them on social media and YouTube, showing how quickly they can portal around the maps. Speaking of leaderboards, Splitgate 1 has in-game leaderboards for both ranked and takedown, and you can see your own stats because it has a career page where you can see your KD, kills, deaths, games played, games won, assists, suicides, double kills, triple kills, quad kills, you name it. And a challenge system which actually works. Plus, there's replays, which Splitgate 2 doesn't have because Unreal Engine 5 apparently doesn't have the capability to do a replay mode. And there's drops, which are something that people have said they want in Splitgate 2 as well. Just random item drops for playing the game. This game had, and still has, so much more content. It was just suffering from what the devs called technical debt, and hopefully Unreal Engine 5 was supposed to fix that problem, and maybe it did. But it seems like what came with that was a game that was unfinished, needed another 6 months in the oven minimum to fix the bugs, polish, and add more content so that it matched the accumulated content of Splitgate 1 over the years. As for the gameplay itself as well, I don't know what it is, I can't quite describe it in many words, but I just feel like Splitgate 1 feels better. The guns feel more powerful. I feel like as I press the trigger, I can actually feel the impact and the damage. And I don't know, like the recoil, the animations for the guns, they just feel better. Splitgate 2 feels so like, I don't know, just light, floaty, not heavy. You don't feel like a super soldier. It just feels so floaty and light, I guess. I don't know, like the guns feel like they're all made out of plastic, like they're some kind of like Nerf gun or something, whereas in Splitgate 1 just everything is so deep and bassy and it just feels and sounds so much better. And there's also more mechanics in the core gameplay. If you strip away the factions from Splitgate 2, Splitgate 1 has more mechanics. Splitgate 2 doesn't have the EMP grenades, which I know they kind of like countered by making it so you can overwrite someone's portal by placing your portal on top of it, but in the original Splitgate you could disable a portal entirely by throwing a grenade at it. And you could also keybind, I think you can do this in Splitgate 2 as well, but this is the default setting in Splitgate 1, is different keybinds for each portal. Your left and your right bumper, for example, on a controller controls your start and end portal, and you can close them separately. I don't know if I'm alone here, but I just feel like that alone makes Splitgate 1 the more skillful game. If someone in Splitgate 1 kills me, I believe that I died to an opponent that was better than me, to an opponent that was more skillful than me. I died because I wasn't as good as the opposition. But in Splitgate 2, a lot of my deaths just leave me feeling frustrated, and I feel like I died to some stupid gimmick. I really think they messed up. They had a good formula. I mean, this formula attracted 60,000 concurrent users on Steam alone, and probably over 150,000 concurrent when you factor in PlayStation and Xbox as well at peak times. They had something people wanted, and instead of doubling down on that and just erasing the technical debt and improving the graphics and things, they made a lesser product, and they also shifted the target audience by trying to capture the masses by creating a loadout-based or a class-based shooter. And it really reminds me of when Halo 4 came out, and like Halo 3 and Halo Reach had the formula that everyone loved. Granted, Reach wasn't loved by everyone, but it was loved by more people than Halo 4. And Halo 4 came with loadouts and started catering to the COD players, and ultimately, at launch, they all played the game, and then it had a massive drop-off. Same with Halo Infinite. On Halo Infinite's side, launched hundreds of thousands of users concurrent, but launched with no content. Splitgate did both of them. Splitgate did the double whammy. Hardly any content, and targeting a different audience from what you initially captured from the first game. Splitgate 2 speed ran the death of a video game. Now, death might be extreme, like it's not there yet. There is still like 2,000 concurrent users on Steam, and you know, if we total up the Xbox and PlayStation roughly, maybe there's like 7 or 9,000, maybe 10,000 people playing the game. But that's nothing compared to its predecessor that is ultimately the better game. Even the map design feels better. Like, I think Abyss in Splitgate 1 is better than every single Splitgate 2 map. It also hit me a few weeks ago that every map in Splitgate 2 for the arena modes is symmetrical. There are 0 asymmetrical maps for arena. None. But in Splitgate 1, you had Abyss, you had Impact, you had Highwind, you had Crag, you had Lava Well. Plus, we had 9 simulation maps for Takedown. I also think the weapon designs in Splitgate 1 were better, especially the weapon skins. I don't think I've seen any weapon, or not many weapon skins in Splitgate 2 that have animated textures. Things where there's like cybernetics flowing through the gun, a snowman that spins when you shoot and you shoot out snowballs, or maybe it's just a pattern which is like, you know, rotating or flowing. There's tons of weapon models in Splitgate 1 where like the entire mesh of the model was changed for the sake of a single skin. Skins that were made out of like molten lava, ice. There's a sniper rifle that looks like a giant speaker. In Splitgate 2, it feels like you're kind of just buying iteration 737 of the same weapon that you already have. It's like, do you want to spend $12 on this weapon that you already have in green, but this one is red? Here you go. Like, it's just, the changes aren't enough. And I know the reason for it was to have some like continuity between the weapons, have a clear art direction and style that you want to go with, because admittedly, yes, Splitgate 1 was all over the place in terms of cosmetic art style. But I think that variation was good because it made people buy them. I'd also like to note that I found matches incredibly fast. I spent 21 minutes playing Splitgate 1, and I played 4 games in that amount of time. If I spent 21 minutes playing Splitgate 2, I'd probably play 2 matches, and I'd spend like 6 minutes searching for a match. How is it in a game with less players, with 10% of the players, I can find a match quicker? I really think that Splitgate 2 needs to like bundle some of its modes up together or something so you can find matches quicker. We need some asymmetrical maps in the game in future updates when they start adding more content after the bugs and things have been fixed and the game has been polished. And I think that the cosmetics and the prices of them needs a serious looking at, because I spent 20 GBP on Splitcoin when the game came out, and I haven't spent a single penny since. Absolutely nothing from that store has enticed me, because I look at them and I just go, I already have this in a different color, or this is too expensive, or this isn't drastic of enough change for me to want to part with money for it. There's also less cosmetics. Like, the way you can customize your character is by far superior in Splitgate 1. Not only is there more color variation, but there's also the portal gun and the jetpack. I mean, if Splitgate 2 had some cool looking portal guns like that were priced at like $3, $4, I probably would have bought one. But it just has less items. Like, the only things you can buy are armor skins and weapon skins. That's it. And I guess maybe you can buy sprays. I don't know. Speaking of sprays, I had my own spray in Splitgate 1. That's pretty cool. The Nade Straight spray. Use code NADE for 10%. No, not anymore. But yeah, that's kind of it. Just a ramble about really like how much better I think the original is, and I think a lot of people are in agreement with me. There's a lot of reviews on Steam for Splitgate 1 which detail like people came back to it or tried it after playing Splitgate 2 and ultimately feel like it's the better game of the two. I mean, with like the main branch and the QA branch combined, I'm sure I have like over 800 hours on the original Splitgate. I have, I think, 55 on Splitgate 2, and now I'm probably playing for like an hour a week. Whereas I used to play Splitgate 1 for like 3 or 4 hours a day. So, just, it's very clear that the devs had it right the first time, and the second time, they have really messed up. More money, more experienced devs, more time, doesn't necessarily mean better product. I hope that they can take more inspiration from Splitgate 1 and realize that there's so many aspects to this game which should be ported over and, you know, remade in Splitgate 2. Things that people miss, things that people want, things that deserve to be in that game, things that should have been in that game since launch. Hopefully, Splitgate 2 can get better over time and see a resurgence in players. It wouldn't be the first game to do this. I mean, Splitgate 1 had a massive surge in players. The finals had a surge in players again. No Man's Sky had a surge in players. I think there's times where even Halo has had surges in players again when new seasons have come out. Apex, Destiny, Cyberpunk, all games that have seen surges in players after multiple updates and patches. So it's not impossible for Splitgate 2 to do the same. Hopefully they will, and hopefully they'll look at Splitgate 1 as inspiration for things that they should change and include. That's all from me today. Splitgate 1 for me was like a hidden gem of a game. I was playing that game when there was 400, 500 people playing. Even though at the time, you know, that game was considered dead. There was literally peak concurrence of like 430 for 2 whole years, and I hopped on that game every single day. Hopefully, as I said, Splitgate 2 gets to a point where I want to put that much time to the game and player retention increases. Thanks for watching this video, and goodbye.